Hello, everybody. We are back for UFC Fight Night. Magny versus Carlos Prates, and we're going to kick things off. Today will probably be a bit of a quicker breakdown because just off the rip, I think I have every favorite on this card. I think I picked every favorite, which almost never happens. So it'll probably be a quicker one, but we're going to go through it. So let's go full screen here. There we go. So the first fight of the night is between Melissa Mullins and Claudia Segula. Now, I was watching some tape on both of them, mostly Claudia Segula just because it's her UFC debut. And both of them seem to be grapplers. They like to clinch. They like to get top position. Segula especially in the fights I watched, that's pretty much, her game. That's what she does. Not much of a striker. Very low volume on the feet. Does not throw, a whole lot of power, and she just kind of plods forward, not a whole lot of footwork. So I think this fight's going to basically come down to who's the better striker, because I think both their grappling is going to kind of cancel out, and I think Melissa Mullins is the better striker. So I'm going to go Melissa Mullins by decision. I just feel like they're both going to try to grapple at some point. Neither of them are going to have too much success, so then it's just going to end up being a striking match for 3 rounds, and I think Melissa Mullins will be a slightly better striker, and I'm going to pick her to win by decision here. Plus, she's also fought in the UFC, I believe, like twice already, so she has that experience. So I'm going to go Melissa Mullins by decision here. Moving on up the card, we have Tresean Gore versus Antonio Tricoli. Tresean Gore fought in the Ultimate Fighter. Actually, I think he went to the finals, and he fought Brian Battle, lost a decision. He has not been that active. He did submit Josh Fremd, and then he also lost to Cody Brundage. He got TKO'd by Cody Brundage in the first round. Tricoli, he's the guy that just fought Shara Magomedov not that long ago, got TKO'd. I do believe he took that fight on short notice, so, take that as you may. But on the film breakdown, this one's a hard one to pick, but I am going to go Tresean Gore just because I feel like when I watched Gore, his athleticism, his power, his strength, he seemed like he could grapple pretty well. His striking seemed like it was there fundamentally. He's been out for a couple of years, so hopefully he's been improving in that time. And I'm just going to trust him and his athleticism in this one. Tricoli, again, short notice, didn't look all that great against Shara. So I'm just going to trust Tresean Gore. He's fought Brian Battle, he fought Josh Fremd, he's fought some names, whereas Tricoli, he's fought a few names, but all the names he fought, he's lost to, and pretty much all of his wins are against guys that are lower level competition. So I'm going to go with Tresean Gore here. I was going to say decision, but I could see a TKO by ground and pound. I could see a TKO at ground and pound at some point in this one for Tresean Gore. But either way, I'm going to go Tresean Gore with the win here. Moving on up, we have Cody Stamann versus Damon Blackshear. This one I was a bit back and forth to at first when I was watching tape, because the thing that worries me is that Damon is so forward pressure, and he doesn't really move like a bantamweight. He moves like someone that's a bit heavier. And Cody Stamann actually does have pretty good footwork, cuts angles, switch stances. But I don't know, man. Just Cody Stamann hasn't looked too great as of late. And it just seems like he's always a step behind in these fights. And the problem with this one is I feel like Damon Blackshear, if he gets a hold of him, is going to be a lot bigger and a lot stronger and just more physically dominant in the grappling. And I think that Damon Blackshear is going to win this one, probably by decision. I think he's going to be able to use his size, get the clinch, drag him to the ground, control him a bit. Cody Stamann might have some success on the feet, just cutting angles and being a little bit quicker and just, hard to hit. But I think eventually Damon is going to be able to get the takedowns, get the ground control. Probably end up winning a decision. Cody Stamann's, pretty hard to finish. Like, he's not just some easy guy to finish. So probably Damon Blackshear by decision. That's the pick. I got Damon by decision. So moving on up, we have Matthew Semlisberger versus Charles Radke. At first, I had Matthew Semlisberger at first, but I did change my pick to Charles Radke. And Semelsberger, when he's on, he looks pretty good. Like the Jake Matthews fight, he looked fantastic in that fight. But then his other fights, he's just seems like he's slow, almost like he just doesn't want to be there. Same thing with the Bruno Silva fight, that happened not too long ago. It just doesn't seem like he's, all there sometimes. And I don't know, it's hard to trust that. Athletically, he should be able to win this fight. He is a lot bigger than Charles Radke. I think Radke's like 5'9". Semelsberger is listed at 6'1", but I think he might be a little taller. He might be like 6'2" or 6'3". And he's, a big, powerful welterweight and hits hard. It's just the speed difference and also the output. I feel like Radke could probably cut some angles, move his head, be a hard target to hit, and it just kind of outworks Semelsberger. And also, I don't know if Semelsberger is going to be able to just wrestle Charles Radke and control him like he does most guys. Radke has pretty good wrestling, and he also trains with Belal Muhammad, who is the current champion and also a very good wrestler and grappler. So I don't know if Semelsberger is just going to be able to lay on him and use his size. I don't know if I see that happening. The one concern is Semelsberger just one-shot KOing him because he does have that ability. Semelsberger does have one-shot KO power. But I'm going to go Charles Radke by decision. I think he's going to be able to outwork Semelsberger. He might get hurt at some point, but I just feel like the volume is going to be the difference here. I think Radke's going to be able to outwork him and win a decision, probably 29-28. Semelsberger, though, if I was going to pick an underdog on this whole card, he would be the underdog I would pick. But I am going to go with Charles Radke by decision. He's going to outwork Semelsberger, I think, 29-28. So moving on up, we have Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos versus Zach Scroggin. Or Scroggin. Yeah, Zaleski is, or Zaleski. Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos is a slight underdog. According to this, hold on, let me look at, he's 7-0. Scroggin is 7-0, 28 years old, 6'3". Let me look at his record here. His last guy he fought was 19-14. Before that, 9-17. 5-4, 6-4, 3-2, 0-0, and then 0-2. Yeah, I mean, look, it's a good record, and he's definitely beating these guys, but I am shocked that this dude is the favorite. Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos has been in the UFC for over a decade. This motherfucker has a win over Sean Strickland by wheel kick. And I understand that was a long time ago, but still. With all due respect, Zach Scroggin's fought nothing but fucking bums. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't understand how, at least according to the UFC website, I don't know, this could be wrong. It says Zaleski is the underdog. I'm going to go Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos by finish. Probably by submission or TKO. I mean, I don't think I have to really fucking explain the difference in the record between these two. I mean, let's just look at Elizeu's last few fights in comparison to Zach Scroggin's. Elizeu fought Randy Brown, Renat Fakhratinov to a draw, Abubakar Nurmagomedov, Benoit Saint Denis, who he beat, Muslim Salikov, Alexei Kunichenko, Li Jingliang, fucking Curtis Millender, Sean Strickland, I mean, Max Griffin, Lyman Good, Omari Akhmedov, Nicholas Dalby. You get the fucking point. This guy has fought in just fucking night and day. We're talking like fucking City League basketball players Zach Scroggin's been playing against, and Elizeu's been playing against like actual NBA caliber players, if you were to make a comparison here. So I'm going Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos by finish. I think he is going to get the finish here, probably by TKO or submission. You know, he is pretty good at, taking the back and locking up the choke. So he is older. I get it. Like, maybe that's the reason why he's the underdog here, at least according to the UFC website. Could be wrong, but I'm going with Zaleski, even if he's older. I mean, the experience difference is just so night and day different here. Unless Scroggins is really just truly some phenom, which I don't think he is. If he's going to decision with a guy that's 19-14, he's probably not a phenom. He'd probably be smoking him in the first round. So I'm going to go with Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos here by finish at some point. So moving on up, we have Gaston Benlanos versus Cortavius Romeus. Is that how you say his last name? Romeus. I'm going Romeus here. Gaston, not too active, hasn't looked too good in his career. Cortavius, Romeus. He fought in the Contender Series, and he is shorter. But I mean, both these guys are shorter. They're I think a featherweight. Was this featherweight or was this bantamweight? Let me double check. Let's see. This is bantamweight. So I figured, okay, bantamweight. Oh, it says right there. All right, so I'm going Cortavius Romanis by finish at some point. I just think that the explosiveness, the athleticism, the power is going to show through. I just don't think Gaston Bolanos is that good. So I'm going to trust the Contender Series guy on this one to get it done. So I'm going to go Cortavius Romeus by knockout at some point. Maybe round 2. Probably round 2. I'll say round 2. So moving on up, we have Karolina Kowalkiewicz versus Denise Gomes. Denise Gomes, heavy favorite. A bit surprising. She should be the favorite. I don't know about minus 550. That seems a little crazy to me, but I am going to pick Denise Gomes. Karolina's older, and she has had some success as of late. She did go on a losing streak, but then she rebounded, and she did recently lose to Lasmin Lucendo, but before that she did win 4 fights in a row. So she had some success, Karolina Kowalkiewicz, but I think this is just a bad matchup for her. I think Denise Gomes has power. She's tough. She's durable. And she's going to march forward, throw volume, throw the harder shots. I don't think Karolina is going to take her down. I think this is pretty much going to be a striking match, and Denise Gomes is going to get it done. I'm going to say TKO. I think she could find the finish on Karolina. Karolina's, she's there to get hit. She's a bit older, and when Karolina gets hit, she doesn't have the greatest reaction to getting hit. Sometimes she freezes up, and that's not good against someone like Denise Gomes. So I'm going to go Denise Gomes by TKO. I'm going to go third round. I think it's going to go a bit late, be a little bit of a prolonged beating, but I'm going to go with Denise Gomes here by TKO. Although minus 550 is a little crazy, I would not have her that wide of a favorite. I would maybe have her like minus 200, to be honest with you. I wouldn't have her as a crazy favorite. But, I am going to go Denise Gomes by TKO late in the third round in this one. Moving on up, we have Mansour Abdul Malik versus Dusko Torovic. Mansour Abdul Malik is another Contender Series guy, undefeated prospect, been destroying everyone, finishing everyone. Dusko Torovic, a lot more experience. He has over double the fights here. He has also fought in the UFC before, I believe. Yeah, he has. He fought Christian Leroy Duncan, beat Jordan Wright. He lost to Chidi Ejukwani, beat Maki Patolo, lost to Gregory Rodriguez, lost to Punahele Soriano, beat Daquan Townsend. So he's been in the UFC for a while, since 2020. Most of his fights are losses, and he just seems to be one of those guys the UFC feeds to prospects who they feel like can beat him. And I feel like that's going to be this fight. I feel like Mansour Abdul Malik is probably going to get another finish here. The UFC kind of knows what they're doing with this one, and they're feeding Dusko to another prospect. So I'm going to go with Abdul here by KO, round 1. Not much to go on here. I think the UFC kind of knows what they're doing with this matchup. So moving on up, we have Luna Pinheiro versus Jillian Robertson. I'm going Jillian Robertson by submission here. She's on a roll. She's a very good grappler, one of the best grapplers in the division, so I'm picking her. Luana, not a very good grappler. She got submitted by Angela Hill in her last fight. She also tires out. In my opinion, I think Jillian Robertson should be a bigger favorite, probably the biggest favorite on the card, to be honest with you. I mean, I think that Jillian should be a bigger favorite than Denise Gomes. So I'm going Jillian Robertson by submission. Probably round 1 or 2. I think it's going to be a really easy fight for her. So, Jillian Robertson by submission, either round 1 or round 2. Moving on up, we have Gerald Meerschaert versus the debut of Reiner de Ridder. He fought 1FC. He was a really good fighter in 1FC. Although, it just seems like a weird time to sign him. I guess better late than never, right? But I think he's like 34, 35 years old, so he's on, probably the tail end of his career. Maybe 3, maybe 4 years left of fighting he has. And he's already kind of had his peak, I feel, in one. You know, he was the champ, and then he lost the titles, and then after he lost the titles, now they're re-signing him, and it just seems, I don't know, it just seems a little too late. That being said, I do think he's going to beat Gerald Meerschaert. Gerald Meerschaert, very good submission grappler. You know, he has some striking a little bit, you know, a little bit of power. He could put people down if he lands clean, but not the greatest offensive wrestler. A bit slow. You know, he did beat Edmund Shabazian, but Shabazian, you know, has just not really improved too much throughout his career, especially in the grappling. I'm going to go with Renner de Ritter by TKO in this one. Probably round 1 or 2. I feel like he's to be able to get fucking Gerald Meerschaert out of there. Meerschaert, maybe he catches a guillotine. Maybe he catches something like that, but I just don't see it happening. I'm going to go with de Ritter by TKO here, probably first or second round in his UFC debut, and make it look relatively easy. So, yeah, I got Renner de Ritter by TKO. Moving on up, we have Ricky Turcios versus Bernardo Sopaj. I'm going Bernardo Sopaj. Sopaj actually looked pretty good in his last fight against Vinicius Oliveira before he got fucking flying kneed. He actually did look pretty good. And Ricky Turcios, just, he's one of those guys that just, he has no finishing ability whatsoever. If I'm being honest, he has just no finishing ability. He's just not really dangerous at all. He's not really fast. He's not really explosive. You know, the one thing he kind of does is volume. You know, he will throw volume, move forward, and he is tough. You know, he's not going to quit, but I just think Bernardo Sopaj is more talented. I feel like he's quicker, more explosive, sharper striker, probably a better grappler too. Sopaj I feel like is better everywhere, but especially on the feet, I feel like he'll be better. So I'm going to go Bernardo Sopaj by decision. I do think Turcios is tough enough to make it all 3 rounds, but I do think Sopaj is going to be able to outwork him, chop the legs, and just outpoint him on the feet. So I got Bernardo Sopaj by decision here. Moving on up to the main event of the evening, we got Neil Magny versus Carlos Prates. And, yeah, Carlos Prates is going to knock Neil Magny the fuck out, probably in the first round, maybe the second round. Stupid matchup, really stupid matchup. I would rather see Michael Morales fight somebody like Carlos Prates, who just smoked Neil Magny in the first round, who's another prospect. I get what the UFC's doing. They don't want to kill a prospect off by doing that matchup, but still, it's like, what the fuck, man? Like, Neil Magny is literally just a sacrificial lamb at this point. Like a main event, like really? Is this main event worthy? Like I don't know. I feel like Carlos Prates is almost guaranteed to win this fight. You know, he seems like he's strong. He's improved his grappling defense. It's not like he gets taken down easily. And I don't think Neil Magny's to be able to fence fuck him. And that's really his only way to win, is controlling Prates against the fence, wearing him out a bit, eventually getting a takedown and just laying on him. I just don't see that happening, man. Prates is too strong. He's too wiry, too much power, and he's too damn sharp with his counters, and that's going to be a big problem for Neil Magny, is just the way Prates snipes and steps in and counters and just lands clean. So I got Prates by first or second round KO. Easy fight. Kind of a shitty main event, if I'm being honest. It's just not really a competitive matchup. This would be a fight that I feel like would be better as a co-main, or even like, you know, the third to last fight on the card. I don't know. Yeah, I got Prates by finish. Pretty much, I think I picked every favorite on the card besides Zaleski, which is shocking that he's not a favorite. I think he's the only underdog. I thought he was the favorite, to be honest with you. So I think he's the only underdog that I picked on the card. Let me go through and double check. Yeah, so Melissa Mullins is a favorite. I picked her. Trayshawn Gore is a slight favorite. Picked him. I picked Damon Blackshear. He's a favorite. I picked Charles Radke. He's a favorite. I picked Elizeu Zaleski, who's, according to this, is an underdog. I don't fucking know why. I picked Cortavius Romeus. He's a favorite. I picked Denise Gomes, favorite. I picked Abdul Malik, favorite. I picked Jillian Robertson, favorite. Renner de Ritter, favorite. Fucking Sopaj, favorite. And Prates, favorite. So, yeah. The only underdog who shouldn't be an underdog is Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos. So, pretty much a clean sweep on the favorites on this card for me. Yeah, that's the breakdown. I will post my pick record for the last card. I think I might actually fucking went like 9-4 again. I don't know. I went positive. I know that, but I'll post that on the channel for the last card, the pick record. I'm not going to do a postcard breakdown. It's too late. I was busy at the coast, so whatever. I will post my pick record, though. So, yeah, this is the breakdown for Magny and Prates, and I will see you guys next time. Have a good one. Let me close this out. Have a good one. See ya.